Hello and welcome to another webinar Wednesday that we are thankfully doing on a Wednesday and not on a Thursday. Today we're going to be talking about packaging for Amazon FBA, and we've covered this topic a couple of times before, but we are getting more questions, and I think people are still not very clear about packaging best practices. So we've got our resident packaging experts, Sanjeev and Upanshu from iPack India, to talk about packaging. And Kevin and Mark, how's it going? How are you today?
Excellent, thank you.
Busy? Yeah, had a busy day.
Busy, yeah. Busy time of the year.
Yeah. How's Black Friday, Cyber Monday?
Cyber Monday was good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was okay.
Yeah, Amazon I was just reading an article that Amazon sales are up 60% from last year.
Wow.
And I think just independent retailers have done $4.8 billion in sales so far in the holiday season. So it's huge. It's growing like crazy. And they're saying somewhere that Amazon might have like 40 cents per dollar for every, for the entire holiday shopping. So that includes retail and everything.
That's a lot,
That's good,
it's
isn't it? Yeah.
That's a lot,
So
yeah.
Jeff will be able to buy himself a new car in the new year.
Lots of new cars.
Lots of new
He'll be able to
cars.
buy a whole island or something.
Yeah, money. It's mind-boggling, isn't it? The sort of numbers.
Yeah, absolutely.
about.
And I think the article also said that more than 70,000 independent sellers or third-party sellers have had sales of over $100,000 just during this holiday season. That's huge. That is absolutely huge.
It makes me wonder though, because all the people, we know a lot of people in our sort of circle who've had that many dramas with keeping up with their inventory because of the limits that have been set, and so obviously some of them people have been very fortunate in being able to get their stock in and maintain sort of limits. But maybe the biggest sellers get some benefits where us smaller people don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a good talking point, though.
Definitely. Okay, Kevin. So what do we have on the agenda for today?
Well, today, Meg, look, we've got iPack India that are going to come and join us, and they're going to show us some ideas for packaging. Mark's going to go over and revisit sort of packaging and shipping carton sizes for Amazon. So the people that have been struggling with that will sort of try and cover those aspects. And then Sanjeev and Upanshu will be giving us a brief outline of sort of box die lines and touch on the types of box inserts and the different materials we can use for the different types of packaging. For your products. So all in all, good topics to cover.
Yes, lots of content, lots of good information. Monica is here. She's saying, hey, guys.
Hello, Monica.
Hi, Monica.
Okay. And as always, guys watching, if you have any questions, type them in the comments and we will address them. So, yeah, Mark, I'm going to share my screen now. I'm going to share your slides. So let's get started.
Okie dokie. Thank you.
Okay.
Now, look, I know we've discussed this several times, but I get people come to me every week who still aren't sure on these product tiers and the ramifications of not getting it right. So if you want to just move on to the next slide, Megla. And now this here is what a standard size box is at the top. So if you look, standard size packaging box, so it can be up to 20 pound, but it can't exceed, so when we say the longer side, so one side can be up to 18 inches, another side can be up to 14 inches, and then the other side can be 8 inches. Now, once you go even 0.02 or 0.01 of an inch over that, you become oversized. So it can be quite a costly exercise once you do that. And if we go on to the next slide, now these will be in the India sourcing sort of file, so you can always come back to this now and actually refer to it. Now, what I've done here is I've given you an example of a package that's 17 inches by 8 inches by 7.5 that weighs 6 pounds. Now, the FBA cost for that is $7.32. If you just make your box a little bit bigger and have a bit of fresh air in there, and don't package it really tightly. And 19 inches by 8 inches by 7.5 inches, weighing the same, goes up to $11.30 because it becomes oversized. So at that point, that adds $4 to each product you're selling. So that can become, like, if you're doing 1,000 products, that's a huge amount. Plus, once you go into oversize, a lot of people don't understand, when you're doing standard size, most of the time you will get one warehouse from Amazon. So you'll probably just go down the road. If you're using DSP, you'll end up probably going down to AEB8 or something like that. So it's quite easy and very cheap to ship. But once you get into oversize, I don't know anybody yet who hasn't had 3 fulfillment centers, and they're not always just down the road. They can be halfway across America, like I've had as far as Texas with my different fulfillment centers, and they might even make you split cartons up. It's really, really annoying, but I don't know exactly why their reasoning is, but this is what happens. So that's another big expense. Do you want to just go on to the next slide, Megla? Now, this is a comparison. So if you package your products really secure, but at the same time, you don't want to be paying for air. So what you really want to do is make sure, if you're designing something, don't make it like 18 inches. If you can make it 17.5 and make the packaging just slightly under 18, but you've got to think, how thick is my packaging going to be? So it's no good going too close. You need to make sure that, depending whether you need a lot of packaging around your product or it's just going to slip into a cardboard packaging box without anything around it. So you need to think about that when you're designing your product. Think about how big your packaging is going to be. And you need to work with your supplier and packaging company to make sure it is as compact as possible. Because, like, if you shave an inch off a product, that can mean thousands of dollars in profit over time. Just say you save $6 an item because we had $4 extra for that extra 2 inches on your packaging box, and then on top of that, you're probably paying about an extra $2 a product just to go to 3 warehouses and all the additional costs in that. So that's $6. If you do $2,500 order, that's $15,000 profit to your bottom line, and that's pure profit because that's just money you're giving away to Amazon. So just, bear that in mind when you're designing something. If you can make it 17.5 inches or something, do it. But I had one oversized product that's 19.5 inches because it just didn't work, and that does cost me quite a lot more, but I factored that in when I was working out my costings. Now, look, oversize is fine to do, and just ensure that you've got enough dollars in your calculations for these additional costs. So when you're doing your costings, always add that extra $4 and an extra couple of dollars because of the extra 3PL cost and the extra 3 warehouse costs. So I think if you come back to this slide and revisit it a few times and think about it, you'll probably decide that you do really want to try and, make your products really compact in the boxes because, like when we first started, we had a box made and it was made in China and they couldn't read our die lines and they made it far too big and we were just shipping air. We paid hundreds and hundreds of dollars just to ship fresh air in this box because the box wasn't made to our die lines because they didn't have the power to read them properly or something. So it turned out to be a real nightmare and a very, very costly exercise for us. So I'm very anal about, getting my packaging right when I do it from now on. So, so I think that's something that we all need to work on. Do you want to go on to the next slide now? We'll just look quickly at packaging, shipping cartons. Now, for those of you who are really new, we've just talked about packaging. So that's the box that your product actually sits in that gets delivered to the customer. So what happens is it will get sent out to the customer just in that packaging box. So if you just think if you're going into a shop and buying a dinner set and it comes in a nice cardboard box, that's your packaging. Then there's shipping cartons. Now this is where confusion happens. These are the cartons that you might put 4, 6, 8 or 10 products depending on their sizes into each carton. Now these cartons are usually quite rigid. They're quite sturdy because they get handled a lot because they'll go down to the port, onto the ship, off the ship, around, into the 3PLs, over to Amazon. So they're usually made quite thick and sturdy, and the most they can be is 25 inches by 25 inches by 25 inches, and not weigh more than 50 pounds. Once again, Amazon have been known to refuse to take anything that's like 25.5 inches. You might get a warning the first time, but they are very strict on this as well, and they're getting tougher on it. I've had some people I know who they just wouldn't take theirs because they were a half an inch over. So you've just got to be careful. Now, if you're shipping direct into Amazon or from your 3PL, you must attach the unique numbered shipping label that you produce when you're doing your shipping plan. So once you go to send your goods into Amazon, you need to go in and complete your shipping plan, and you will print out a shipping label for Amazon, which will have, it'll be, if you've got 100 boxes, it'll be 1 to 100 boxes with your FNSKU number on it and all of Amazon's barcoding. And if you haven't got that, you won't get into Amazon. So you don't put that on. If you're sending your goods from your supplier in India to your 3PL, the box doesn't have those labels on it until it gets to your 3PL and he's sending it in. But if you're going straight into Amazon, those labels have to be on it before it leaves basically your supplier. So do you want to just pop onto the next one, Megla, and we'll just show all the labels. Now, look, it doesn't have to be exactly this. This is just a shipping carton we have sort of kept because it's got a lot of good marks on it. As you can see, it's got handling marks for the range up this way. But the most important things are the consignee's mark, which means who is going to receive those goods when they get into America. So the consignee, who is on your bill of lading as the consignee. So that must be there. Then you must have your shipping detail, your shipper's details, which is your supplier. So that will be who has handed those goods over to customs at the port, which will be your supplier. So those details must be on the box, and the person receiving the goods in America. So if you're using a shipper, they will be the consignee. So just for example, with us, if I'm using my supplier, his details go in as the shipper. The consignee's mark would be CE Air Global. If I'm using Shamishka, her details would be on there because she'll be my consignee. And then I'll be on there as the other named party responsible. So, but look, you'll get to learn these things, and most suppliers know how to do all this, and they know to work with the shipper and make sure all these things are done. Then you almost must always have the weight, the number of packages in cartons. So if, there's 1 of 10, you label it 1 of 10, 2 of 10, 3 of 10, and the country of origin must be on each box as well. So that's a good example to have. But I think if you use any of our vetted suppliers, most of them are used to dealing with Amazon and will be used to doing these cartons ready for Amazon. But these are standard shipping cartons anyway. Like if you were shipping not even into Amazon, basically this information has to go on there anyway. So it's nothing new. It's not just an Amazon specific thing. The specific thing would be now if this carton was going direct to Amazon, it would also have to have an Amazon label on it. Because if it doesn't, when it gets to Amazon, what are they going to do with it? So they're just things that you need to get right. But that's why we say be very careful when you're choosing your suppliers, because if you go to a supplier who has never, ever done exporting before, he won't have a clue what to do and you'll end up in a big mess. So that's why we vet everyone we bring onto the show and make sure that they are up to speed with all these things. So I think that's probably, hopefully now everyone might understand shipping cartons and things, and just come back and refer to these things that I've put there for you to keep.
Yeah, that's a good refresher. I think people miss these things, even though this is sort of a basic, some basic information that people should know, but yeah, it's easy to miss. So Zara is saying, hi, everyone. I wish I could continue to watch this amazing webinar, but it's 2 a.m.
She's good being up at 2 a.m.
Oh, Zara, you can watch. Yeah, watch the replay.
Just stay up until 3. We'll be finished by then.
You can watch the replay tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So Monica's got a couple of questions, but we'll come to your questions later, Monica. Let's just cover the topics here. So next I'm going to share, Sanjeev and Upanshu's slides. And they will go over their company profile and basically just talk about the different options that are available from them as far as packaging is concerned. So, okay, there you go.
So hi guys. So We go by the name iPack India, and we started our services in 2010. And we have the factory location at Narayana Industrial Area, which is one of the approved industrial area in the capital of the country, which is like in Delhi. We supply a broad range of rigid and flexible packaging products, which includes we believe in helping our buyers what kind of packaging will be best for their needs, and developing effective and innovative industrial and consumer packaging solutions. So yeah, so some of our USPs include we use FSC certified packaging, and in this slide we have attached the certificates that we've got for the so FSC certified packaging includes materials that originate from sustainable and legal sources, so that they are eco-friendly. And these certificates, we have got these certificates from the authorities to indicate that we use these materials.
Yeah, and we should have also pointed out early on that Mark, Kevin, you've used iPack for your packaging
Yeah, for
to develop
over
your
three
Oh,
years.
packaging.
Yeah.
we've used the guys for multiple products now, and we're very happy with the service they provide. And yeah, they're always open to suggestions. And yeah, very good service.
Yeah, no, they've
Thanks,
been great.
Kevin.
Yeah. No, it's been, I mean, their service is good, and look, we don't have many, issues. We just say, this is what we want. It's got to be this size, because I've got my supplier trained to make sure it's that size.
Yeah.
So everyone's on board. And I think you've got to really express what you want. It's no good sort of going, oh, yeah, I need a box, and, make it look nice. But you've got to think, as well as looking nice, the main thing is people don't see the box until they get the product. So they're not going to buy it because of the size of the box, or there's an extra inch around the box and it looks a lot prettier. I think what you really need to focus on is some costings for yourself, because this is where you can, well, as we've seen, you can make $15,000 profit on 2,500 products. An easy thing to do by just being careful with your dimensions and when you're designing your box. And Sanjeev, I'm sure, and Upanshu know these rules by now, because I think they've done about, I don't know how many, 12 of my box designs or something. So, and look, once you get, with people who know what they're doing and they know the quality that's needed, it works really well.
Yeah, but a good point though, Mark, is to have that product and then get your package designed around the product. So
well, that's right, yeah.
So if the product needs an insert or a foam, something to hold the product stable, or to make it sort of stabilize, or if it's ceramic or glass or whatever, it needs protection, and so the packaging needs to be up to speed. So if these guys know what your product is, they can work around all those things that you will need to make it, a successful package for you.
Yeah.
Okay, Upanshu, go ahead.
Yeah, another USP of ours is that we use soy ink, which is like the most eco-friendly ink available these days, and it is also laser-proof. So at high temperatures, it like saves us with a lot of wastage, and it is known for its lithographic stability and top quality prints, which includes it does not like spill over a lot. So yeah, and these are the we have also got the certificates for the same that we use for ink for printing. Another thing is that we ensure reduction of toxics in packaging. Whatever material we use for packaging, like foam gumming, and it is always free of heavy metals like lead, phthalate, etc. So, yeah, this is the process that we usually follow. It will be a great that if we stick to this, because like the first step should always be that the buyer sends their product, because we've been like people are coming up to us and they just describe their product, but unless we get a sample of what we have to pack uh, 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 before that, it is very difficult for us to go over go over to the entire process. So the first step should always be that the buyer send us their product, the sample itself. Then the second one is the pictures of the sample. We will develop a mock-up box and send it to the vendor, and simultaneously we will share the pictures of that mock-up box to the buyer so that they can approve the same. Like we will prepare a mock-up box, and then it will we will share the pictures to the buyer, and the same will be sent to the vendor for drop test, who is available to us. After that, we prepare the die line of the box. So talking about die line is important for artwork. For example, when as you can see in the pictures on the right hand side of this slide, when we put the box flat, what exact dimensions each and every part of the box has is shown in the die line above. So in this yeah. So in this die line, you can the buyer can tell us exactly what artwork needs to be done on which side, on which particular piece of the box, and it is like scaled to proper dimensions of the box. So that is why it is important, and we make the die lines of the sample box that we have created to the buyer so that they can send us the artwork for printing, and then we process the order further. So this is the process that we usually follow. So yeah.
Or explain, die lines in, I don't know, for the just in a little bit more detail, why we need the die line
to create artwork.
So, for example, the sample box that we have created needs some printing, right? So, for example, if we send the exact dimensions of the box, then it helps the buyer to decide on which particular piece of the box the artwork needs to go. Like it actually replicates the exact box in two-dimensional 2D pictures. So it is easy for the buyer to create the artwork for the same.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's almost like picking that up and folding it up to make the box, isn't it?
Right.
I mean, you get a mini one, obviously, but if you think about that all those lines are fold lines and flap lines, so that all folds up to make your box, and that's how every box basically starts, as a flat sheet and gets folded up from that original drawing.
And Prince, can you help people with the artwork if they wanted some artwork designed?
So we usually let the buyer decide their own artwork, but if they can tell us exactly what they need and what for, then we can suggest something. But
Right.
it is up to the buyer that whether he is comfortable with that or not. We
Yeah,
will propose a solution. We will propose an artwork that is feasible for both the buyer and for us. But only if it's if it is okay with the buyer, then we can proceed with the same. We can only give suggestions, but I think it would be better if up to the buyer to decide the artwork. Yeah.
So I think Monica has a similar question. Does the customer supply the die line artwork to the supplier? So as you said, it's preferable if they supply. And so maybe sellers can work with an artist, like maybe on Fiverr or somewhere, to design the box and then send you the high-res PDF or the AI file.
AI file. Adobe Illustrator file.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people go to Upworks or the other sort of, or Fiverr even, and you can get people to design a packaging. But once again, they will need your product to design that packaging around. My point was that while it's in India, if the guys, to save going to and froing, if the guys could offer a service to the people if they send a product to the guys and are not sure about artwork.
Yeah. So Trish has a similar question. So the die line is sent to me. Can I just then send you my logo and what I want on the box?
So if you can, so hi Trish, if you can send the logo on the box, and if you have some preference on where that logo needs to go on the box, then we can proceed with that. Like you can send us the logo, and we will send you a proposed artwork, like including your logo, and we will send you the same.
And just something that we need to probably haven't added in here while we're talking on what's going on the box. You always must have your barcode and made in India on the back of the box. So you would get that printed. Like, don't let it go and get the box printed and then say to the supplier, can you stick these stickers on? It's much safer to get the like your barcode and made in India printed into the actual box, into the die line, so it's there and it's in print. It's not a sticker that's stuck on later. We've always done that, and we find then there's no hassles, and you're not relying, if you've got 10 different products all lined up, that somebody can accidentally stick the wrong barcode on the wrong box. This way the barcode fits the box fits the product, and everything should be quite good. But they must be on every box to go into Amazon. And actually, I think it's to go through customs as well. You must have made in India on your box, but you'll need the barcode for Amazon. Or if you've got an FNSKU, which we'll come back and talk about, Monica, you would put that in as a barcode instead of a GS1 barcode.
Right. Yeah. And also, if you just want some basic, if you want some basic designs for your box, I guess you could just go to Canva and do some basic designing over there, and then just send a mock-up to the guys at iPack, and then they can they can create the packaging. But I guess the important point is you need to tell them what you want. They can't be deciding where to put the logo, and they can't be designing the box for you. Right.
Yeah. And just as a tip this is what I use, and I'm quite happy to share it with everyone. Everything in my brand is the boxes all look the same. They've all got the same writing. It'll be bigger, smaller, but the same. I just have a logo on the front, a bit of a description on the back of what's in the box, and my barcode. That way I don't have to pay someone to redo my artwork every single time I do a new box. It's just do the same thing, just make the artwork fit that particular box. Now that saves me a lot of time. Plus, people, if they rebuy 10 products and they all come out to them in the same box, it looks a little bit more like you're really professional than having this box look like that and that box look like that. A lot of people stick a picture of their product on the front of the box. That's fine, but then bear in mind you've got to pay someone to do all that for you, and it's another change that you've got to constantly do. I've just found it's much more economical to not actually change the actual look of my boxes so they all look exactly the same. So it's just something that I found was cheaper, because I'm trying to make as much money as I can out of this. I don't like wasting money on redesigning things all the time. And it's less work. Yeah, well, it's less work as well, because it's just straightforward. I don't have to think about what I'm going to put on the box and what it's going to look like. Am I going to change this? Am I going to put a squiggly thing in the corner? It's just the way it is every time. So it's just a good way of saving some more money and some costs, making your life easier.
Yeah. Keep it simple. Do you put your address on the box or your company name?
We don't know.
Email address or anything?
No, you don't have to, because we're in home, we don't have to have those details on. If you're in, I think it's toys, there's a few categories. You'd need to just always check those things that if you need, but I think they're mainly the gated categories like toys. I'm not sure about beauty, whether you have to have an address, but with our sort of categories, we don't have to actually have our name and address on the box.
Yeah, and for some categories, you also need to have the different signs. So maybe if it's not for kids below 3 years old, you have that. So it depends on.
But I think they'd all be sort of gated.
Yeah, and different marketplaces as well, and different countries. I mean, some countries might have dual, English and French. You might have to put on the package, for the description.
Yeah, and I think once you get to Europe and Germany and things, it obviously has to be in different language.
CE,
it also has to, you have to have the CE. Well, now, don't ask me what you have to have now because of all the new Brexit stuff. Everything will be different. But I know it was a bit of an issue before, because if you didn't have the CE on it.
Hey, Mark, that's another show.
That's another big. Yeah, we're just talking about America tonight. We're not really covering the Europe and UK. That's too hard.
Wow. Sweating there, mate.
Yeah, that's another show with Avask, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, okay, Trish has another question. Sanjeev, can we choose the box as in style? M&Ks just look gorgeous. I love the box before it is even opened.
Thanks, Trish.
Thanks, Trish.
So, yes, I guess the answer is yes. You can definitely
Yeah,
choose the
yeah,
box. Right.
yeah,
But ideally, you want them to send their product to you so that you can, give them some guidance on what
yeah,
is the
exactly.
best
So
box for
depending
you.
on the product, we will suggest them which particular box they should use. But of course, it's up to the buyer.
Yeah, and I'll
Right.
just add on that we don't all we some of our products are in a gift box, so they have a
Yeah,
different opening where they open up looking like a gift. Some don't warrant that, so they just slip in. But this box on the outside still looks the same. It might
yeah,
open differently, but just the color and the writing on my boxes are always the same. So it doesn't matter if it's not the same shape box or anything else. They're all different shapes and they're all different style of boxes, but they just have the same color and printing on them, so they're recognizable. So it's like if you had it in a store, it'd be a whole wall of the same colored boxes. So I just think that and because we do a lot of the same products, people buy 2 or 3 of our products, so when they get them, they're getting something that looks like it's from a big brand. So it's a good way of sort of a bit of marketing. That's a very cheap way of doing it.
Yeah. So, Mark and Kevin, when do you think sellers need really high-end packaging and, like the iPhone kind of packaging, or do you think that's even needed? Because for Amazon, you're not really, I mean, your buyers are not really looking at your packaging before they buy the product. But do you think people really need high-end fancy packaging for Amazon?
Well, I mean, I'll answer one, Mark, and then you can. There's 2 ways of looking at it. I mean, if you've got a really expensive product, then I would expect. I mean, if you go shopping, you would expect a good packaging arrangement if it's an expensive product. Yeah, I mean, like you get an iPhone and it's an expensive phone, so the packaging is extraordinary.
Yeah.
What they do, but it's horses for courses, and a lot of people in our circles, they have a relatively not inexpensive product, and then they put it into an expensive box. And the box could be worth more than what the product is sometimes. And then, it sort of doesn't make sense. I mean,
Yeah.
people will get the product and they go, wow, I love the box, but why would you put such a cheap product in a box? And so, it's horses for courses.
Yeah, and I
maybe you
think
can,
if
Mark,
it's
you
if
can
it's a
answer
good
that.
if you think everyone's going to buy this as a housewarming gift or a birthday gift or whatever, maybe you go a little bit more nice looking, but I don't think you need to go to the expensive foil and all that stuff. It's on Amazon, and most of the time, like, think about it yourselves. You get this product, if you get something delivered from Amazon or Catch or whatever, it comes in another box. You open the box and you've got this nice box in there, but I very seldom, except now that I'm a bit of a box collector, because I get an idea and I think I'll keep that box. We've got a few in the shed, but most of the time before this, I would open it and you tend to turf the box. I mean, unless it's something you're going to put back in the box, you don't want a house full of empty boxes unless you're a hoarder. So, I think you've got to think, is this really going to be ever put back in its box? Is it needed? Do I go that extra? And I mean, Sanjeev, you can probably say it can be $4 or $5 a box. People can go to over the top very quickly, and it doesn't take much if they want all sorts of beautiful papers and different quality of the boxes. It's not cheap, and if you're selling a $10 product and you've got $5 for your box, it's a pretty big cost on top of your product. So you've got to get a happy medium. But like if you're selling something that you think warrants it, go for it. But just bear in mind that is it going to really sell your product? Because are people going to see that before they buy it? So they've already bought it. So, it's not really going to influence the buying, I don't think.
Right. I guess the other concern is just you want to make sure that the product doesn't break. I mean, especially if it is something that can break, or
Yeah.
because for e-commerce things get thrown around a lot. So I think that's, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So Jackie has a question. What other options do you have if you don't want your product in a box, like for packaging linen products? So Sanjeev, Upanshu, any suggestions?
We haven't have this request so far as of yet, but for we have different options for packaging. If you don't want a box, we also do packaging in PVC, what you call
Accident box.
acetate box. Some of the products we have packed in the acetate box, but for linen also we can figure out something. We haven't have that request as of yet. So
Okay, but do
there
you
are
also do like fabric bags, for example, for packaging, or
Jute,
plastic
jute.
inserts or plastic bags or jute, or yeah, any of those, or
Working on.
we have recently working on this. If you can see this picture,
wait, I'm
this
going to make your, okay, yeah. What is
Oh, yeah.
that?
Felt
this is
pouch.
a pouch. This is a felt
Okay.
pouch, and we are working on this for one of our buyers. Um,
Oh, that's
so
interesting.
yeah, this is how it opens.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
What kind of product is this for?
Uh,
Just doing ये हमारे पास में इसमें क्या कैसे पैक करेंगे क्या चीजें
so the
use
product is so there can be various products for it. The buyer has only
lightweight.
sent the actually the buyer this buyer has only sent the uh, what he needs for packaging. He hasn't sent the product yet, but yeah.
or audience can
Yeah,
choose.
Yeah, the audience can choose which product needs to, we have various options, but it's up to the product totally.
yeah.
But,
So
yeah.
Jackie, that could be a good option for your linen products, because it doesn't take too much space.
It's
Yeah,
compact. Yeah.
it's compact. Yeah. Um, okay.
I think,
So
yeah.
yeah, go ahead,
You
Mark.
don't do, I'm thinking Jackie might be thinking of more like, like when you go to the linen shops here in the department stores, and it's in like a harder sort of thicker plastic, just like a cover. You don't do that type of thing, do you? Like, do you know what I mean?
Like a plastic bag.
Or a thicker plastic. They're really quite thick. The way they do them here now. You don't do any plastic, do you?
Plastic, the acetate box itself is made of PVC,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, polyvinyl chloride. But for example, there are products that needs to be displayed outside of the box. So for that, we can use the acetate box. But so yeah,
Okay, that's still a box. So I think
yeah.
Jackie's looking for
Oh, okay.
something other than a box.
But I mean,
Uh,
maybe Jackie, just as an idea, because I actually bought a doona not long ago, and actually it came in the print of the doona in a bag, so you could get your supplier to actually make the bag.
And what was the bag? Was it a fabric bag?
Yeah, it was just like a piece of fab, like a piece of the doona cover, and the
We'll
doona
find it and take
folded
some.
up
We'll
inside.
find it and we'll find it and take some images for you, Jackie.
No, we won't, because I've thrown it away.
Oh, sorry,
I don't know
Jackie.
where it is. But it was, I know, but I think if you go into the department stores, you'll see a lot of them are doing that now. I think it was just like Target or somewhere that had them. And it's just another way, and I think Spotlight do it too. It's just another way of presenting it. And then you would just put it in like an outer poly bag, obviously to seal it, to stop the dust.
It's like a plastic envelope, wasn't it?
Yeah,
No,
no, it's a material envelope. It's material.
Yeah, but there was another one we had. It was like not a plastic, but it was
I've got
see-through.
hundreds of those, yeah.
It
Plastic
was
envelope.
see-through. Yeah.
So Jackie's saying thanks, Mark. And then someone is asking, what is the felt made from? So what kind of fabric is felt?
ये non-woven material.
It's made of a non-woven material.
Yeah,
Okay,
felt's
so
like
it's
a
fabric.
felt's like a fabric, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 It's not an animal thing.
No.
It's not.
Okay, so let's keep going through the presentation. So you've got some examples of products or packaging that you have. So do you want to just talk over the
Yeah,
next
yeah.
few slides?
So in this slide, you can see some of the cylindrical boxes that we have made, the tube-like boxes for packaging different products. This is cylindrical box with edge molding. Like we mold the edge. So this box does not have an edge. It is a cylindrical shape, and
Right.
yeah.
And this would be good for bottles or maybe even, ceramic products or
Yeah,
what kinds of
ceramic
products?
products. So we can put in foam, for example, in the black and red box that you can see. It was for a watch, like a wristwatch. So it has materials like a wristwatch, for example, and so.
Okay.
Like what in medicine.
So this was a five-ply corrugated box with top and bottom inserts to protect it. We have the product showing in the last picture. The third picture was the bottom insert. Then we put in the product, and then the top insert, and here is how it is packed in the first one.
Okay. So the insert is just basically another
So
piece of cardboard, right? Or is it something else?
it is of cardboard, and it is just to ensure the safety of the product.
We are using insert.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
just a second. In addition to that, we also wanted to show to ensure to ensure that the product passed through the drop test. We have a few samples. In addition to the top and bottom inserts that we just.
Honeycomb.
So yeah, so this is a
Honeycomb.
honeycomb corner that we can put like the product goes in like this to protect it from passing through the drop test. And we also have honeycomb surfaces that can be placed on top and bottom of the product. This is a honeycomb surface. It is just made of cardboard and to ensure the safety of the delicate materials for packaging.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that'd be good for really fragile glass and things
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
for,
That'd be great.
really fragile materials.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
some people were also looking at marble products, right? We had one Vis supplier who was doing marble products, and
yeah.
they were looking for packaging, so it'd be good for those kinds of products.
Yeah, marble products also. So the one you can see in the slide is cardboard box with foil printing and styrofoam. We use styrofoam in this because it was a delicate product, and styrofoam like it is also used for ensuring the safety of the product. This was one of the box that we made. This was a fine quality corrugated box. It is of high strength. Like we have 7-ply. I think we used 7-ply cardboard for this. Um,
So 7-ply is like really high quality, right? I mean, what
yeah,
is? Can you tell us like, what is the the at the very basic, the very low end kind of box?
the basic
What would
ply
that
that the basic box is of
Three
five
ply.
3-ply. Yeah. So
look
if yeah, so it goes from 3-ply to 5-ply to 7-ply.
like? Okay.
Yeah. So this was one of the gift boxes that we've prepared for one of our customers, Crate and Barrel. It is known as a display box because you can actually the product can be displayed from inside the box.
So, Mark, what do you think about display boxes for Amazon? Do you think they're really needed? Because it's not retail, right? I mean, people are not
That's
looking.
right. I don't think it is, but then again, it depends what it is. If it was some really pretty necklace, it might be nice to have that with a lid that went on top of that. So it went into Amazon with another lid, and you lift the lid off, and it was still like protected in that box. It just depends what your product is, but obviously this isn't going to be a cheap option if you're going to do all that. Do you know what I mean? So it's a matter of deciding what's going in there. But, maybe if you had a really beautiful, expensive, necklace or something like that that you wanted to be displayed and, have it a bit of it when you took the lid off, oh, wow, look at that. But, are you selling that on Amazon? You know, that's what you've got to look at. You know, does it warrant it? I think that's what you've always got to think of. There's some beautiful packaging, but does it warrant it on Amazon?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was also this box is magnet cardboard display box. It has a magnet on the front surface so that it sticks onto it, the top side. So we have also developed boxes like these. This was one of the this is like half acetate box. It is the lid of the box is made of acetate. It is not a like full acetate box, and the bottom part of the box is made of cardboard only. So it is called display box with printed acetate lid, and we can also print on the acetate lid. This was for one of our customers, Molino, in US.
Okay.
This is uncoated top and bottom box. This was not a display box, but a gift box, and it is for one of. It was we made this for one of our customers, Tozai, in the US. So yeah, this was just a second. Yeah. So this was a colored top and bottom box. You can also see slightly the product that we have packed, but this was an idea of one of our customers that we can show the product from like on the box itself. Like you can pack the product inside, but we can also print the entire product on the top surface of it. So this is a printed box with color top and bottom.
Right.
It was for one of our customers' heritage.
This is a nice box for Amazon, right? Mark, Kevin, because it keeps the product secure.
Yeah,
And
that's right. It does keep it, you know, well sort of like covered. My concern is that pretty boxes probably get pretty well thrown around. That's the trouble. Like I look at it, and then you watch the ads on the Amazon delivery driver, and he's throws the box at the door, at the window, and all these things. So you know, I sometimes wonder, you know, how much you really go and spend. You know, on your packaging, because I mean, we've had photos back of some of our, you know, boxes, and they are solid boxes, and I don't know what they've done to them, but they must have thrown them from, you know, at the back door to hit the people's, you know, front door, because, you know, they've been dinted in 2 or 3 inches and all rippled up, and they are so strong. So where it's been, God only knows. And, you know, it's out of your control. There's nothing you can do about it. And obviously, well, hopefully it hasn't left Amazon's warehouse in that condition. Hopefully nobody put it in a carton when they were packing it and thought, oh, that'll do, they can have that wrinkled box. So you would assume that that's happened from when the couriers picked it up to when it's landed on their doorstep. And I mean, if it's in a box with supposedly some air bubbles and all the things that they put in their boxes, how does it get so damaged? It leaves me speechless. But I've got some photos of a couple that it's happened to our boxes. So, and I'm sure we're not the only ones.
right. So Mary Shaker is saying hi. Oh, Kevin, you're muted.
I was just going to say, how can you sack a robot for doing the wrong thing? Because, you know, picking up the wrong packaging.
Right. So, okay, Sarah has a question here. When you do a magnet box, how do you keep it together for the drop test? Also, with the top and bottom type box, how do you keep it from opening in drop test and handling, etc.?
So when we use top and bottom inserts for magnet box, just a sec.
Just actually, I know on one of ours, we have little like clear dots that hold the lid. We've got one that just has like a lid that goes on, and we just have 2 little clear dots on each side that you've sort of got a slit to get the box open. We've used that on one of ours.
So for example, the magnet box. If you talk about the magnet box is just for the product. uh, for it to pass on the drop test, we put the entire box inside another simple box, which is normally a 7-ply corrugated box to, like, if we have to pass the drop test.
Oh, is it? But the drug test needs to be for the actual packaging of the
Box
product.
itself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that
but,
wouldn't be the box itself. It'd be like a hidden box inside a box. And then it'd still go into a packaging carton in Amazon, like when it's being delivered. So that would be like the outer double box. That's what you're saying, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's double boxed for protection.
But when
Yeah.
the drop test is done, it needs to be done on the
The drop
packaging, right?
for the drop test, the magnet box we developed it in the magnet box itself passed the drop test. Like, the product will not be distorted or like uh, break, but
To save the
to
magnet box.
to save
We
the
have to put
magnet box itself, like if we are shipping it, then we use the even then we like insert the entire box into a 7-ply or a 5-ply corrugated box to ship it.
Yeah,
Not
yeah. The cart, the
yeah, the
carton.
card. The
The
card.
question is, like, when you do a drop test on the magnet box itself,
Yeah.
how do you prevent it from opening when it hits the ground? That's her question. So I guess you just, usually for any box, the lid is taped, or there's a small,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah,
sticker
yeah.
Yeah.
dot,
Like
so it doesn't open up when it hits. I
Yeah,
guess that's the
okay.
question.
To prevent it from opening, yeah, like we use gums
gum sticker or
Yeah,
elastic string.
or an elastic string, for
Also,
example.
we will use.
Uh,
right. Okay.
yeah.
Says, I've tried the dots and the box opened when dropped. Maybe I need stronger dots. Yeah, maybe you need stronger dots or something else, I don't know,
yeah,
string
it's just a bit of
You
or
an
you
experiment
can
with
also
what you've
use
got.
elastic strings, as we just said. Elastic
To lock the
strings
box.
are wrapped around the box for it to prevent it from opening in the drop test.
A friend of
Elastic
a friend,
strings
a friend of ours has got a magnet box, and it's very strong. And even when you drop it, it's very strong. And it must be to do with the magnet goes the length of the box, maybe. And I think it was about sort of 6 to 8 inches long.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hmm,
So that's
right.
quite a strong
Elastic
magnet.
string is
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So Monica is saying freight forwarders have been advising against using magnet packing due to items being deemed as hazardous and creating all sorts of headaches. Oh, I haven't heard of that.
Mm,
No, I
I haven't
haven't
heard
heard
of
that
that.
either. No.
Yeah. Have you heard of any such issues, Sanjeev Upanshu?
Not as of yet. Like, we are
Okay.
hearing this for the first time.
We might
But yeah,
ask
we'll
Shamesh
look
for
into
that
it
one.
later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Question for
Monica,
Shamesh.
might want to just post this in the Facebook group and tag
Mhm.
Samiksha to answer this. Okay, so Trish is saying, I imagine styrofoam is environmentally unfriendly. Is there another option to protect the product?
This is honeycomb.
So as we just showed this honeycomb corners, this can also be used. This is completely environment friendly to protect the corners of the box. This can be inserted, and these are honeycomb surfaces that can be inserted on top and bottom of the product.
Hmm.
So this is completely eco-friendly if a buyer wants something other than styrofoam.
Right. Okay. So Westbound Logistics made a social post about this a couple of weeks ago. Oh, okay.
Okay.
You could also use Evafoam instead of polystyrene, can't you? Which is more environmentally friendly. That's not quite as like polystyrene.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Evafoam. Yeah, like an I don't know what's Evafoam? What do you call that? More like a piece of foam, not polystyrene. It's more like a foam, I suppose, but it's a harder foam.
Soft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've got lots of things in Evafoam, but I haven't got one here. I haven't got anything on my desk. I'm just looking.
Yeah, I think, let me just do a quick search over here and see if I can find something. So something like this. No, this is playmats.
Yeah.
Oh, here,
hang on.
this.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
There you
That's
go.
exactly it. That's Eva foam. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the stuff I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
had
yeah. We use
products.
Eva foam also.
Yes.
We just
Have this
forgot.
option.
We use this Eva foam for we have already used this for some of our customers. The Eva
Yeah.
foam tablets, yeah.
Yeah, we've
Okay.
used that in the past.
Yeah, I don't
Yes.
think that's really environmentally friendly.
Friendly and
Yeah, this is eco-friendly.
That is eco-friendly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Another
yeah,
one we
Yeah.
had wasn't.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. So let's go back to the presentation.
We get lost. Go off a little rabbit trail.
It's a
So
cardboard
this,
box
with stickers. So yeah, it was a normal. Like if the buyer decides that he does not want the printing on the entire box, but just a sticker to be pasted on the box, then this is one of the examples. Like
description.
it was just a normal cardboard box on with a sticker printed on one side of it.
Okay.
Description you can use.
And also you can use these stickers for description of the product that is inside this box.
right, and you'd also want made in India written somewhere,
Yeah,
and of
made
course
in
Yeah.
India. Yeah,
barcode.
And the
the
barcode on the
barcode.
back. Yep.
Okay, so what's
So this
this?
was another example of a corrugated box with foil printing. We use this box for one of our customers, Western, in these states.
So how many plies is this box? This looks like a bit flimsy.
It
Is it
was
like
a three-ply. It was a three-ply corrugated box. It was yeah.
okay? So when you say foil printing, what exactly does that mean? Is that the printing on the box that's done with
It,
foil?
it means that the printing is a bit shiny. For example, the you can, as you can see in the third picture, this was
printing, soy printing.
this was soy printing, but if this was normal soy print, but if you can see in the first box in the first image, this is foil printing. Like it is a
Okay,
bit
so this,
shiny. Yeah,
Yeah, like a metally looking finish.
yeah.
yeah, that's nice. And so the product is also a metal coaster, so makes sense to do this.
So this box has a window so that you can see. Yeah.
These are the
This,
beautiful
this
boxes.
was also one of our demands from one of our customer who needs a box inside a box inside a box, and it is a custom designer box. So it is made of
Cardboard.
normal cardboard, but with the design.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
gift someone.
Yeah, so it can be used for it can be used as a gift box. For
They're
example.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yes. So again, if your product is really giftable, then you want
Yeah,
this sort of a
gift.
thing. And that can be a USP on your Amazon listing, right? I mean, the packaging
Right.
itself is giftable. So
Yeah.
so how is this gifting done? Is it embossed, or what kind of printing is this?
So I think we can also use handcrafted paper for this. Uh,
So
Yeah,
this is
I mean,
basically just
yeah.
paper stuck. Yeah.
That'd be beautiful if you had a really expensive piece of jewelry, or
yeah.
Something like that that you really wanted to showcase in a lovely box. I mean, I've even seen expensive men's ties done in a box like that. Where you'd roll an expensive tie up and have that as a lid or something.
Right.
But once again, if people get a die line designed from someone else, these guys can actually make whatever you find and then make it in India. So if you find something outside of India that you've had designed, you can actually, and you're going to get a product in India, then it's to have a packaging company in Delhi, if you're manufacturing in Delhi or close by, makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you don't have to move the packaging around the world. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so
So
window
this was a
boxes.
cardboard window box. Yeah.
Okay.
So we apart from the box, we also like make bands. This was for Pier 1 imports that we did on the bands itself. So these are wraparound bands on on the box that we make. These are wraparound bags with printing bands with printing on it. so you can print it, so you can have anything printed on these bands, and they can like wrap around the entire box.
That's a good idea, because that way then you could
Only
use
print
like a
on
black or a white box and just put that onto each box. And I mean, you can have your barcode on the back and your branding story on the front. So I think that's quite sufficient. If you've got a product that doesn't need a big expensive box, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a low cost alternative.
So this was also a corrugated box that we made for Pier 1 imports
with acetate lid.
with acetate lid on top. This you can actually see the product. So these were the printed acetate. These are the acetate boxes that we were talking about. Uh, to
Napkining and
which so we don't have cardboard. We don't require cardboard for these boxes. So they are just made of the acetate, that is PVC.
both sides you can see are transparent.
Yeah, and so in the second image, as you can see, we can wrap the bands around these acetate boxes like this.
Fully
Yeah,
transparent.
this would be good for a small product, like a small and light product.
Yeah.
Upanshu, can you,
Yeah.
you know that the blister packs that sort of come, but they're sort of plastic. Can you make those blister packs out of the acetate?
Blister pack, yes, we can. If the quantity is good, we can make a blister pack also.
Because also a blister pack, that's very safe. It's very strong, yeah?
Yes, but
Even with the acetate, yeah?
Yeah.
need the quantity assurance.
So,
Otherwise it will costly.
Actually, it is a bit costlier than the normal box. It of course it is like of high strength, but so for that like we need minimum quantity of 200 to 2000 at least, so that we can like it is feasible for both us and the
Yeah,
customer.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
Okay,
beautiful box,
that makes
that one.
sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A band would be good for the top and bottom boxes as well. A nice addition. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's very pretty, that.
Yeah.
So this was a
So
cardboard window box with printing on top. So
I could see a couple of candles or something sitting in that
Yeah.
box.
so this was also like a box for delicate items. We inserted styrofoam inside the box to prevent that. To
so this
prevent
looks
the
like, is it not styrofoam?
Yeah, I think that's Eva foam, isn't it?
Oh yeah, this was Eva foam.
Eva
Yeah,
Mm.
not styrofoam. So this is eco-friendly and also easy to prevent the fragile items from breaking. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for e-commerce, you'd probably need something like this, and especially if you have a fragile item like a glass or marble,
Yes.
or even metal products, because you don't want metal products to be rubbing against the packaging, because that could
Yeah.
scratch it as well.
So apart from bands and stickers and boxes, we make tags that can be attached with the box, and grommets, and these tags are of various types. Some are of ball chains. Some are attached by using a ball chain, and the others can be attached by using thread seals. So the first and second tag, and the others are that can be like it's entirely up to the customer how they want it. But we have also made these tags.
Right.
So these were the Eva gumming dots and fabric stickers, which are like eco-friendly, unlike styrofoam, and are lead, phthalate, and heavy metal free, that we have used to
So how
use.
are these?
Coasters and
So
Where
these
are
can
they
be used for
metal products.
metal products and coasters, and it can be like for example for coasters, they can be inserted on top and bottom of the coasters. or they can, or for
So
a square box, they can be put on the four corners of the box.
so that the product doesn't touch the packaging.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So this is a product display quickly box. For example, we have glasses, and as soon as you open the box, the glasses are like, so it is as the name suggests, it is product display quickly box. So this was also made by us for one of our customers, and this was a box for door knobs that we've made.
Yeah, again, this is for display, I guess, right?
Yeah, display. This is also a PDQ box only.
Meeting.
And this,
Yeah,
like the last slide, we have just shown some of our customers that we have worked for.
right. Lots of retail.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this is where you can contact us.
Okay, so let's see if we have any questions over here. Does your minimum depend on design of packaging, material, or any other thing? So do you want to talk
Yeah,
about
so
your
it actually depends on the if the printing is it actually depends on the design of the packaging. Depending on the artwork that the buyer suggests, as soon as we send the buyer the die line. When we get the artwork, it depends on the artwork on how what's our MOQ would be.
So what are the materials that are readily available? Um, and what sort of materials can be sourced at a higher cost?
So we generally have, for example, when we talk about paper, we generally have 30 by 40, 30 inches by 40 inches of paper that is readily available. But if the buyer wants an oversized paper, like a size greater than that, then we have to like then we need a minimum order of say 500 pieces to like for it to be feasible for us, so that can be sourced at a higher cost,
And will take some time, more time.
and it will take some more time also for us.
Right. So, yeah, someone is asking, how can we know your minimums on available materials? Yeah. So, what is your MOQ for available materials?
It is too.
At least 250 for on available materials. The RMOC is always 250. Um, like we need minimum of 250 pieces to process the order.
Okay. So at least 250 for readily available materials, and then if you want anything fancy, and that includes printing on the box as well, right? You can
Yeah,
do customized printing for the box.
that includes printing, but it actually depends on the artwork. If the artwork is too heavy, and
Multicolor.
and multicolored, or like too fancy, then we need maybe like
About
more on minimum quantity. Like we need at least 500 pieces. It depends on the artwork, but generally it's 250.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's why if you keep your box fairly simple,
Yeah.
you're right. If you just, once you start getting into these really expensive boxes, I mean, you can understand it's like, it's got to be especially procured sort of embossed papers or whatever, that there's going to be an MOQ. So I think you need to keep that in mind and decide, is it worth spending that
Yeah.
extra money, and having to order more boxes if it warrants it. So I think it's something that you need to, but that you should be working with this. Once you start to really accept that sample, I think it's time to start thinking about this and talking to your supplier and talking to your packaging people and making a plan. Then it's no good getting your product halfway through and then going, oh, how am I going to package this? And, finding out you need 1,000 boxes and you've only ordered 500 pieces or whatever. So I think it's a good idea to plan this. Don't leave your packaging until the product's halfway through, being made.
No, just a reminder. Go back to the days in China when a lot of times we, even for the most simplest box, we had to get 1,000.
1,000. Didn't matter what it was. I don't think we've still got some boxes in China. 4 years down the track. 5 years down
But,
the track. They've still got 500 of one lot, I'm sure, that because it was, you have to have another. I think we even had to get 2,000 of a couple of them because we had inserts in them. Like their MOQs were crazy, and they were pretty simple. They were no more complicated, put it that way, than what we've got now. So.
But the other thing was, if we had a little deal with one of our suppliers too, where we could store the extra packaging we bought. So it was far better buying more MOQs, and I mean it helps the supplier, it helps yourself, and our supplier had a spare room where he could put our packaging, but it wasn't that our packaging was stuck there for for a year or more. It was it was in between drinks. It was only a short time, so he was glad to sort of store out because he knew. The next business is around the corner.
Right.
Hello,
Alan.
Hello, Alan.
How are you, Alan?
Off the golf course, is he?
He's off the golf course.
He's making black puddings.
Oh, that's right.
He's making a lot of dollars. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, good on you, Alan.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, well done.
Right. So what else, Mark, Kevin? Have we covered everything?
Well, I think we've just about covered everything. Well, I suppose the drop test, which we've talked about now, if people don't know what the drop test is, any package, and I mean the package that the client is going to get, that package has to be able to be dropped from a meter and not break and not damage. So, and Amazon can randomly just pick your product and drop it to see what happens. So, it's something you've got to consider. So it's no good skimping and saving and putting your, package box like a piece of tissue paper. It does need to be. And so I think you've got to be guided by the guys at iPack and your supplier, because they know what these products need. They know that, it's usually not the first time they've ever shipped something like this, around the world. So they know how to package it. So I think, if they say it needs a number 5 or a number 7 core flute, go with it. And don't scrimp and save that 50 cents or $1, because it could just be your undoing, because all those boxes could end up being destroyed. Because I think something we didn't touch on. So you put your products into a shipping carton and they go into Amazon in 8s and 10s or 12s or whatever falls. Then they get taken out of that box and they get tossed on a shelf. And then somebody will go, oh, we're going to move these from California to New York. So then they pick up a few and they put them in some other box or whatever. I don't know how they do this. And they ship them all across the country, everywhere. Then somebody buys that product. So they pick it and then they put it into one of their Amazon Prime boxes, supposedly with some packaging around it, and then give it to UPS or someone to deliver. So that box can travel around America 2 or 3 times, going from warehouse to warehouse, and be out of in its beautiful gift box. So it doesn't get protected when it's on the shelf. And sometimes you can see that they've been left and they're a bit dusty. I don't think they sort of I don't have time probably to go around dusting every box. And it's probably a pretty dusty warehouse. So there's a lot of things can happen to those boxes. So you've got to, it's not like you're buying for a retail shop, that carton's going to come into your store. You're going to open that box and gently put it on the shelf and sell it to the customer. It's not like that. So you've got to consider the logistics of all this, because you're doing this online, sort of system, that there's a lot more handling of that product involved. So I think that's something you've got to spend that little bit more to get a thicker box. And listen to this, to the packager, listen to your supplier. If they say it needs it, I don't want to spend, can you do it for 50 cents less? Yeah, well, you're going to get 50 cents less size, quality box. It's not worth saving 50 cents to.
No, if you found that there's like different, in China versus India, there was like different, stuff being shipped from India and stuff versus being shipped from China into the US. Is there like difference, like where the customs handles things? Or
I don't think so. I don't think it makes any difference, because it's always in the packaging it's in your shipping cartons, and it's not packaging. It's still always in the shipping carton, so it's not going to be any different. And I mean, the quality of the boxes we got from China were equally, we paid for thicker quality core flute in all our boxes, so we didn't have cheap boxes, but we were paying dollars for them. They weren't, 20 cents a box. They were quite expensive boxes, but we wanted our boxes to stand the test of time in Amazon, so that's why we did it. So, it's not cheap. Yeah, here we go, Alan.
I would definitely not rely on Amazon packing your product correctly for safe delivery. Best to ensure your packaging can travel safely, as Margaret has said.
Right on, Alan.
He's probably had some experience. And he's
I've
got a
seen
new
something like
daily record. Oh, wow.
Good.
Congrats.
Well
Good.
done, son.
Right. Very good.
Tomorrow. He's going
Right.
golfing
Whoa.
tomorrow.
Going golfing
Wow.
tomorrow.
Great. Awesome. So, yeah, let me just show their email address. So, this is Upanshu and Sanjeev's email address. So, if you guys have any questions, or if you want to get your packaging designed, then definitely get in touch with them.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else anybody wants to add before we sign off over
No,
here?
I think we've covered virtually sort of everything that I'd sort of thought we should go over, and hopefully now people can go back to those slides that we've got if they're in doubt about the size of their packaging, and make sure it's right and all those things, and speak to your supplier and speak to your packager, because they'll know the rules. Most of them are doing this day in, day out. You're not the only customer. I mean, there's, so many customers going through this at the moment. So
Yeah.
I think that's,
But I'll say one last thing. Don't
Yes.
overthink it.
Yeah. Just do it.
yeah, make a decision and stick with it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Upanshu, Sanjeev, thank you so much for your time today and for sharing all of this great information. And Alan is saying, start again. I came late.
You watched the replay, mate.
We've been going for 1 hour, 15 minutes, Alan. Dogs and kids are getting impatient.
Thanks for your time today, guys.
Yeah, that was really good.
Upanshu and Sanjeev, you're still welcome to come to our, when we're in Delhi, to come to our conference. We would gladly love to see you there.
Yeah.
Whenever we're allowed to travel again, okay?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, guys, Upanshu is in our Facebook group as well. So in case anybody has any questions, you can post in the group and you can tag Upanshu over there as well.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Excellent.
Okay. Yep. Thanks a lot, everyone. And we will see you next week for another Webinar Wednesday. Bye.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.